Hello, I am Radio Noire of Iridia's Hand and Butterfly Phoenix Coaching, and this is for my YouTube channel. So anybody who's watching it live on Periscope, none of the rest of this is going to stay in here. I'm going to cut out all this beginning part, and I'm going to use this card as a reminder. But I wanted to do this tutorial, and so you get the special stuff. You get to watch me live. So this is just a quick tutorial. I am writing on the pattern. I've extended my project time to get a little more done, and I realized that it would just be easier to do a video to explain something than to try and just write it out, because I know some people need video, some people are fine with reading written instructions. So I thought I would offer both. Hey, Betsy. So I'm going to start the tutorial in just a moment. That means I will answer questions at the very, very end, so I can get through this tutorial. And there we go. So, welcome. This is going to be a short tutorial on Tunisian crochet. I'm going to show how you get started, how to work the basic fabric, and also how to do the color change. And we're going to be using this little star as a sample of just a really small project. This is intended for my study in color work. I wanted to have a video explanation of the Tunisian Simple Stitch for people who were not familiar with it and needed a little refresher or a first-time lesson. So what you will need, of course, is a Tunisian crochet hook. The Tunisian crochet hooks are longer. They have no grip on them, so the entire hook is the same size up into the mouth and the head of the hook. This allows you to hold stitches on it, so you can make a fabric as wide as you can hold on this hook. Of course, a pair of scissors. I grabbed these. These are not my good scissors, but I do suggest you use nice sharp scissors because it's just going to cut a lot easier. And of course, you'll need your yarn. This is just leftovers that I grabbed that I've been using for these samples. And of course, you're also going to need a grid of some sort. I'm going to actually work directly off of this grid, so I'll be counting everything manually. But you can always use graph paper, make a grid yourself on your computer, or just print something out from like a cross-stitch program. So we'll get started. I know for a fact that this star is, for me to make a red square around it, is 7 across and 6 high. So I know that I need to initially crochet 7 chains to get started. And you start this like you start any other crochet with a slip knot. Okay. And for this particular hook, this is a 4.0 millimeter. It is a G. Normally I use a 4.25, but I don't have that size in my Tunisian hooks. So another thing is, when you're working this, you don't want to pull your stitches too tight because it will make your fabric curl even more. Tunisian Simple Stitch has a tendency to curl regardless, but pulling your stitches even tighter or not working with enough slack in your tension will make the curl worse. So we'll start by chaining 7. So the way this works is, normally with crochet, with a single crochet, you would use a turning chain and then you would start back and forth. The way Tunisian Simple Stitch is worked, it is worked back and forth. You never turn the work, and it does create a flat fabric. Like I said, it will curl some. There are some tips I'll share at the end to help it not curl, and of course, those are optional. This is an acrylic yarn, so some of the tips are going to fight that, but for the purposes of this sample, it'll be fine. Now, one of the quirks of whenever I do any kind of single crochet or anything that starts with a chain like Tunisian, I like to crochet in the back of the work. This lets me have a nice even crocheted edge, and it makes attaching other things a lot easier, and it eliminates the weird gap that you'll get between the stitches if you just work into one of the loops. So because you already have this stitch here, this loop, you're not going to count that. You're just going to work in the back of these 7 that you've made. So you can see you'll start here with that loop, and you'll treat it just like you would a single crochet. So you insert the loop, or insert the hook into the loop, or the bump as it's called. You draw up, and then you leave that there. And then you'll go up to your next one and repeat this process all the way to the end of your chain. And make sure that you get only in here and don't split the stitches in front of it, because that'll make it really messy and unattractive on the edge. And this first beginning is always a little tricky to mitigate the pulling and some of the tension issues. Of course, you can always chain very loosely, or if you would like to, you can go up a hook size, and that'll automatically make your beginning chain a little looser. So this was what we would call the forward pass. The forward pass is where you pick up all of the loops that you will then work backwards through, and that will create your first row of fabric. So that means that each row is worked in 2 phases, much like with the broomstick lace. So the first thing you do is you yarn over and you pull through 1 loop. This forms the edge of your fabric. You always have to do this. If you don't, you will essentially be decreasing, and so you'll end up with, an odd-shaped motif or a triangle. So then you will yarn over again, and then from this point you will go through 2 loops. You will continue to do that all the way to the end. Now, as you can see, you have a row. It's a little smushed. This is how they will look until you work the next row or you finish off your piece. So now, to work your next forward pass, what you will be doing is working into these bars. And I will push one up so you can see. So you will insert the hook under the bar, yarn over, and drop a loop. And you will go forward, repeating that process until you have all of your loops on your hook. Now when you get to this last edge back here, there's not really a bar, but there is the end of the stitch that you created, which is essentially like the turning chain because you went through 1 on your previous row reverse pass. So you can go through that 1 loop, draw up your last loop, and there you go. So as you can see, you've got all your loops on the hook. It is curling up, and this is just the nature of Tunisian crochet. This is how it behaves, and there are things you can do when you're done with your piece to kind of fix that. So you would draw through the one here, and that would be the dog getting excited because Daddy's home. And draw through two, and there's the cat. Everybody is joining in the Periscope fun. Yeah?
No.
Yeah, he's not been out. He's been mad that he hasn't been on Periscope. So, there you go. And as you can see from this row, after it's been worked through with the reverse pass, there'll be little holes. And again, when you work through your next row, or when you finish it off, those will all be eliminated. But just gives you an idea of what it looks like. So, he is famous. He is internet famous. So now, he has to get his time in. And for those watching this on YouTube, yes, I am talking to actual people, not just no one. All of the videos from Periscope, you can't see the comments or the hearts or any of the other people watching. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start working in this, and I'll show you how to color change. So I know for the bottom row, it is going to be one red, because I want an outline, and that'll be the farthest piece. And then I'm going to do another red, and then it'll be white, red, white, and the last two will be red. So the way you work the grid is you would treat it and count each of the stitches. And what you will treat it as, whatever color this block is supposed to be is the color that you have to draw up on this side. So the first two squares are going to be red, which means we will go through this first bar and we will draw up the red. And we will go through the next one and again draw up the red, which means on my grid these two stitches will be red. Now the next one I know for a fact is going to be white. So I'm going to go under the bar again, and I will bring in the white now, if I can find the end of the yarn. There we go. So what you do whenever you change colors is you always want to bring the old color, have it over the new color that you're bringing in, and this will essentially twist and lock them in place. And you'll see more of this on the reverse pass, because as this is the first line of this color, there's really nothing to draw past anything else. So we will hold this in the back and draw up that white loop, and there, that third is now our white square. So now this next one is going to be red. Like I said, you're going to draw up the new color under the old color, and then let the new color hang. And then we're going to go to the next square, which again is white. And if you guys could only see the cat perched on my shoulder, trying to see into the phone. You've got your next white square. And essentially what this does is it twists. This technique is fine to use if you're not going to be having too many colors between the changes. If you're going to do, I want to say probably less than 5 is best. Okay, so there you have it. This is the bottom of the star, and you can see it matches, where there will be 2 red squares, 1 white, 1 red, 1 white, and then I'll have 2 more, and that'll give me 1 block of color all the way around this. So now we're going to work our reverse pass with our color changes. And again, like always, you start this off going through just the 1, and then you continue through 2 loops. Now, here's the trick of this. I know that this first one is going to be red. So this loop that is going to go through here and lay here when it's done has to be the right color. So if this was supposed to be white right here, then I should have drawn up this loop white and the previous one. And whatever the next color is going to be right here is what color this needs to be drawn through. Okay, so now this is going to be white, which means the next color that I draw through here has to be white. If I were to continue and do red, what would happen is that you would just have a white bar, but a red square. Okay. So, again, we're going to bring the new color under the old color, and going this way, it'll lock it in place. And as you can see, you've got that bar right there that's laying down now. That one's red. This one will be white. This next color is red, which means what I draw through this loop here has to be red. And again, we're going to twist by bringing the new color under the old. And there you go. And again, we're going to have white. This will be our last run of white. And so we'll finish up with our red now. And you make sure that you don't draw through too many loops like I did there. And what you see is that's the beginning of the squares. So again, this top row, because it's not finished yet, always has some gaps in it. The next row of color is going to be 2 red, 3 white, this one, and this one, and then 2 red to end. So again, we'll start by going through our bar. With this, because of where the color is going, this is going to create a float and it's going to move this way. And so you'll see that on the back, the colors go back and forth. And as long as you twisted them properly, you won't have any holes on the front of your fabric. So we have 1 white here, another white, and then the last one. And then the last 2 are red. And you'll follow that same idea with reverse pass. Whatever needs to go through here has to be the color that matches this loop right here. So we'll go through our 1 here. Okay. And we'll switch to our white now for the next 3 stitches. And then we'll switch back to our red. For the last 2 stitches. And you can see it's coming together. Now, these are squares, but they do have a bit more of a rectangle look, and that's partially because the size of this hook is just really, really small. And part of the square look is including this bar. So our next row is going to have 1 red here, 1 red at the end, and these 5 in the middle are going to be white. So we will draw up and make our first red square. And then draw up and make our white squares. See, I've made a mistake. So this is the importance of counting. This actually needs to be red because this would leave us with this being the last stitch, and I know that's not right because this one is. So we will pull them back. So if counting is not your forte, this is going to be a bit more difficult. Okay, now we're going to work our reverse pass. And apparently, we will also stop this video. So, looks like my phone is overheating and it's going to turn off, so it's going to cut this video off. I do apologize. I'm going to see if I can save what we've got so far, but you understand the concept, and that is what matters. So, happy Tunisian crochet.